Hi, we're back. We're going to be reading A Good Kind of Trouble, chapters 37, 38, 39, and 40, pages 193 to 219. The story is by Lisa Moore Ramey. The first chapter that we're going to read is 37, and it's on page 193. And the name of the chapter is BDAD. Mr. Powell explained that world history is divided into two sections, BC, before Christ, or some people say BCE, before the Common Era, and AD, which stands for Anno Domini. That's Latin for in the year of the Lord. Well, now my history is divided into two sections, BD and AD. Before dance and after dance. Before the dance, BD, I was excited. I was stupid enough to believe that if Jace really saw me, he'd see that I was his soulmate. AD, I'm pretty sure that I don't want to see Jace or hear his name ever again, especially if his name is anywhere near Isabella's. BD, my mom was smiling at me and acting like I was growing up. AD, she throws away the makeup I used, even though it was Hannah's, grounds me, and looks at me like she's thoroughly disappointed. My parents know disappointment hurts a lot more than anything. BD, I was looking forward to winter vacation. I figured it would be relaxing and fun. AD, after the dance, I realize there's nothing relaxing about thinking of all the fun you're supposed to be having. At least I'm filling up my eyeball journal. Since the dance, I have pages and pages of observations. I have to make sure that Julia and Isabella never read it. Usually when our house phone rings, it's someone trying to sell something. But since I don't have a cell phone, Isabella and Julia have been calling the house phone. I don't talk to either one of them. Mama will come into my room with the phone, and I'll just shake my head. She thinks I'm trying to punish myself, but I figure it's still just someone trying to sell something, and I'm not buying. I think that's funny because it's kind of a joke. She's saying, her friends are going to try to explain themselves and why she shouldn't be mad, but she's still mad. Sometimes when I'm in a bad mood, all I want to do is stay here and maybe just live in pajamas and eat gummy worms. Unfortunately, Mama gets in the way of those types of plans. That's why I find myself at the mall, trailing behind her as she finishes her Christmas shopping. She says she refuses to let me mope. I like moping. It's not such a bad thing. I sigh. Through Macy's while she's looking for a sweater for Daddy. I grumble through Forever 21 as she searches for earrings and jeans for Hannah. And I drag my feet through the lingerie section of Sears the whole time Mama is trying to find a nightgown for Mama Dear. Shayla, that's it. Here's $5. Take it. And your sorry attitude to Starbucks and wait for me there. Fine. BD, before the dance, Isabella, Julia, and I would have had lots of fun hanging out at the mall, listening to Christmas carols blare from the loudspeakers and skating on the fake ice rink. It's really for little kids, but we love flying around on it, crashing into each other. We do it every year. Did it. Used to. AD, after the dance, I watched tight groups of friends giggle past me and moms with strollers and huge shopping bags order up cafe Americanos in skinny vanilla lattes. I skip my decaf caramel macchiato, feeling absolutely lousy. So, the whole idea with the BD before the dance and the AD after the dance, Shayla is reflecting on what's happened to her, and she's kind of divvying up her life. So, like I said, those last 3 chapters are really important. Shayla has kind of crossed over a threshold with her friends. She's starting to grow up. She's not managing her relationships really well, and she is really depressed. She's at the mall. She barely wants to drink her macchiato, caramel, whatever thing that she orders. And this chapter's theme is all about change, the changes that are going on inside of Shayla. Now, the next chapter is 38, and it's called Spoonful of Sugar. And the reference is to Mary Poppins, who sings a song called A Spoonful of Sugar Makes the Medicine Go Down. And it's a very popular American song, and I'll play it for you in school when we have some time. It's a very chipper song, and it's an idea of if you have to take some nasty medicine, it's easier if it goes down if you take it with some sugar. And right now she's going to get a little spoonful of sugar from her Coach West, who's going to meet up with her at the mall. Hey Shayla, how's it going? Coach West grins down at me. Her arms are loaded with colorful bags, and she has on this really pretty red sweater and a long black swooshy skirt. Man, she looks like she's out of a magazine ad. It's so weird seeing Coach West in regular clothes, shopping at the mall like a normal person. I guess even teachers need to do holiday shopping. Hi, Coach, I say. Even seeing my favorite teacher, isn't going to get me out of this bad mood. Mind if I join you for a minute? She asks. I've been shopping all day, and I think I'm at the dropping part now. She doesn't wait for an answer. She just collapses in the seat across from mine. Whew! What a relief. She stashes her bags around her. Are you enjoying break so far? Yeah, it's okay, I lie. What am I supposed to say? Really? Because it sure doesn't look like you're honky-dory. Honky-dory? Oh, well, Coach West sets her elbows on the table and leans forward like she actually cares. I sort of have some friend issues right now, I say. She nods like she totally gets it. Yeah, friendships, they can be tricky, especially when you change schools and you're all getting older, so that can be hard too. But it's not even about that. No matter how old we are or where we go to school, our friends should still want to be with us, and they shouldn't backstab us or try to steal our boyfriends. Boyfriend, huh? That guy I saw you getting up close and personal with at the dance? No! I hate that stupid command game. That was just a stupid, dare. I don't care if the command game is ended forever, but I'm not going to be the one to tell on anybody. Dare? I know you kids are doing all sorts of silly things, but don't ever kiss anybody if you don't want to, okay? Coach West sounds pretty super serious, and I hope she's not mad at me. I won't, I say, and boy, do I mean that. Good. But if not him, Coach West lets the question stretch out in the air between us. I can almost see it. My face feels too warm, and it isn't from my hot drink. Well, he's not really my boyfriend. Now that's an understatement. But I like him. And he likes my friend instead. And it's like she doesn't even care. She probably likes him back, and they'll just... Now I'm the one letting my words just sit there in space between us. Coach West nods. When I was in junior high school, my best friend was so gorgeous. And I was this tall, homely girl with pimples and braces. She takes one look at my disbelieving face and adds, really, how many guys want to go out with a 5'11" beanpole with bad skin? I know Coach West just wants me to feel better. I bet she's always been beautiful. It was some wild twist of fate that Monica and I were best friends. She was so beautiful, and still is, actually, and all the boys liked her. At least that's what it felt like. But then there was this guy. Coach West gets a goofy grin. Albert. He wasn't all that cute, but he was smart, like me, and funny. He was short. I didn't care. I really liked him. And he was so nice to me. So I thought. Her grin goes away and she gives a little shrug. Of course, he liked Monique, and I couldn't really blame him. I would have liked her too. As she was always nice, if you can even believe that. Coach West gives her a pretty laugh. That's awful, I say. But I didn't blame Monique. Like she had been pretty on purpose, just to hurt me, you know? Boy, do I know. I stopped talking to her and I acted like a real butt, if you really want to know the truth. Did they start talking, her and Albert? Or, go out? Coach West laughs. I don't know what talking means, Shayla. She laughs again, but then her smile gets a little bit sad. No, she wasn't interested in him at all. Oh, I don't think it had anything to do with me. And maybe it did, but it was more like the fact that Albert was sweet, but sort of nerdy. He would have been perfect for me if he had only realized it, she chuckles. But the point is, Monique never did anything wrong except look the way that she did. And what did I want? For her to, put a bag over her head? I have no answer. Would I be happier if Isabella got her braces back on and let her eyebrow grow together? A tiny bit of me would be happier. But I know it's a stinky, green, jealous part. I don't like giving advice, mainly because people so rarely take it. But you know how crushes can be like fairy dust? Special and sparkly and sort of magical. But then, most times they sort of blow away. And if you've gotten rid of friends just to chase the dust, well then, you don't have anything. She opens up one of her bags and she's going to pull out a bottle of sugar Mary Poppins carried around to help the medicine go down. But instead she pulls out a bright purple scarf. Do you think Mr. Powell will like this? It's a little electric, but purple is his favorite color. I guess so, I say. Some kids make jokes about Mr. Powell's scarf, saying they're girly. I hate it when people talk bad about him. And who cares if he likes to wear bright, colorful scarves? He's an awesome teacher. Yeah, for sure. He'll like it, I say. Great. He can be so hard to shop for. Well, thanks for letting me sit a spell, Coach West says, gathering up her bags. She gets up from the table and pats my shoulder. Merry Christmas, Shayla. Try to have some fun. We're going to be practicing really hard when we get back to school. Merry Christmas, I say, my voice coming out in a tiny croak. I want to call Isabella right then and there and apologize, but I don't have a cell phone. I still have half a drink left, but I get up and I throw my cup out. When Mama finds me a little while later, I tell her we need to leave. I'm so ready to dump this awful feeling. As soon as I get home, I'm going to call Isabella. So, this is a chapter about understanding. Coach West helps Shayla start to deal with her feelings. And Shayla starts to have a big understanding about why she's been feeling so horrible and miserable. And the fact that she's actually in charge of putting down her jealousy towards Isabella. It is not Isabella's fault that she's a very good looking young girl. And Coach West explains that to her, connecting a story from when she was younger and describing crushes that we have on people as like fairy dust. They blow away in the wind, and if you ditch all your friends for a crush, then you're going to probably end up being left with nothing and with nobody. So Shayla is really starting to get a big understanding in this chapter. This understanding continues forward into the chapter called Silent Protest 39. Shayla and her mom and her whole family end up attending a silent protest for Black Lives Matter. If you remember, during this story, there's a trial going on. A female police officer was caught on video shooting an unarmed black person, and the trial is going, and people are protesting, and this is finally Shayla's moment in time to actually join a protest and gain a little bit more understanding. She starts to wake up in her mind and understand what social justice is all about. So, chapter 39, Silent Protest, it's on page 202. When we get outside, there's a large group of people chanting and holding up signs, blocking our way. A woman with a megaphone is yelling about justice. I've never seen so many angry faces. And even though I know none of them are mad at me, it still feels scary to be surrounded by all that anger and yelling. Mama grips my hand. No justice, no peace, a bunch of people shout. A loud crash makes me jump. Someone threw a rock through a store window. I squeeze tight to Mama. I'm not used to feeling so small, like I'm getting swallowed. Everyone is jostling and trying to get closer to the entrance of the mall, and Mama and I can barely get through. This is the first time I've seen a protest up close. On the news, it seems like it would be exciting, but this is actually scary. Someone shoves me, and it makes me lose my grip on Mama's hand. Mama! I shout. I look around, and I don't see her, just a sea of frowning faces. Mama! I call again. And then she's there grabbing my hand. Come on, she says, just about yanking me through the people to get into the parking lot. We crunch over the glass covering the sidewalk. Mama and I rush to the car, but after a few shoves, her bag's in the trunk, and we climb into the car. She just sits there without turning the engine on. For a few seconds, all I hear is both of us breathing really hard. Then she turns on the car, and we pull out of the lot. Police officers are arguing with the protesters, and a tall man with dreads has his hands behind him. He's getting handcuffed. He's getting arrested. I've never seen someone in handcuffs except on television. I guess they think he might be the one who broke the window. I chew on my lip, not knowing what to say. Mama tunes the radio to a news station. I hear a bunch of confusing trial talk. What are closing arguments? I ask. It means that they're coming close to the end of the trial, Mama says. With the protesters outside, I thought maybe the verdict had already come out. She wipes sweat off of her forehead. You thought she was found innocent? I can't keep the shock out of my voice. Mama doesn't answer, which is basically the same as saying yes. But that won't happen, will it? I ask. No one knows, baby. But I know folks are starting to worry, and that makes them scared and angry. When we get back home, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't feel like calling Isabella anymore. I don't want to do anything, really, except just sit in my room and feel miserable. That protest was awful, and the trial isn't even over yet. I can't imagine how bad it's going to be if the police officer is found not guilty. Hannah busts into my room without knocking. Stop moping around, she says. It's driving everybody crazy. There's too much going on in the world for you to be acting like such a baby. I'm not, I shout. Excuse you, Hannah says, stepping forward like she's about to punch me. Fine, I say, sorry. She comes all the way into my room and sits next to me on my bed. Junior high is the worst, trust me, I remember, but that doesn't mean you can ignore everything else. I'm not, Hannah, it's just Mama and I saw protesters. I gulp, thinking about it. I don't want that officer to get off, but everyone was so angry and someone broke a window. Hannah nods. Yeah, me and Regina were talking about how bad things are getting. There's almost a riot at the Black Lives Matter rally when a bunch of people started shouting against us. But stuff like that can make it seem like our movement is just about spreading violence. Are we about violence? I don't want the answer to be yes, even though I know we have plenty to be mad about. Hannah doesn't answer right away. She looks angry, but Hannah always looks that way. So it's hard to know what it means. No, she finally says, but it can be hard to stay calm when sometimes it feels like people don't care about us or act like they have to be afraid of us. or maybe want to control us. She adjusts her ponytail, and she looks like she's been thinking hard. When a black person gets shot and nothing happens, it's like we don't matter. It makes me angry, and yeah, it makes me want to do something violent. Make some noise, get attention. I want a scholarship to play ball next year. It's not fair that I have to take some schools off my list because I would be afraid to live there. I don't know if a lot of white students have to worry about that. It's the first time that I've seen Hannah look more scared than angry. It makes the whole thing with Julia and Isabel seem not all that important at all. I guess I understood Hannah's point. I guess I have been a little whiny, I say softly. I bite my bottom lip. I wish I had a big eraser and I could wipe away all of the bad feelings. It's okay, Hannah says, bumping me with her shoulder. I probably whined a little at your age, too. Hannah stares at me for a second. Hey, you want to come with me to the rally at UCLA? You think it'll get violent? I don't think so, not this one. This one is special. And I think it's time you started seeing what this is all about. If Mama will let me, I say. Let's go ask, Hannah says, and we both go find her. I don't know, Mama says at first. Daddy puts his arm around her shoulder. I think it's a good idea. In fact, I think we all need to go. In the car, Hannah tells us it's going to be a silent protest. I'm not sure what that means. Seems like if we want anyone to pay attention, we're going to have to yell and scream. But that's because I didn't know there were all different types of noise. Daddy parks in the big parking garage, and when we get out of the car, I see him and Mama exchange looks back and forth. Mama comes over and grips my hand. It reminds me of when I was little, and we'd walk to the library or be in the market. And she'd hold my hand so tight, making sure she didn't lose me. Hannah gets a sign out of the trunk. It says, "Stand with us or stand out of the way." She hands me a sign that I made that says, "We matter." Over and over, a bunch of different colors with glitter and sprinkle all over. I'm really actually very proud of it. We start walking to Westwood, and all I hear are cars swooshing by. Even though we haven't met up with the other marchers, it's like we're already doing the silent protest because nobody is saying anything, but we're walking pretty fast. We turn a corner, and there's a whole bunch of people holding signs and candles. Hannah is like a pro. She knows right where to go to get candles. She stands with the big group. She does it without saying anything. I don't get a candle because I have my poster in one hand and I'm gripping my mom with the other. My cheeks are cold, but I brought gloves, so my hands are warm. And when we start marching, we fill up one whole side of the street. Cars that want to go past us go really slow, and no one says a word. That's when I find out how loud silence can be. Hundreds of people walking together, carrying candles and signs, but not saying a single word. Let me tell you, that is louder than anything. There are posters of Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, and Michael Brown, and Tamir Rice, and Stephon Clark, and a bunch more people who lost their lives. Too many. I get an awful lump in my throat seeing those faces. Most of them look really young. Mama keeps wiping away tears and squeezing my hand tight. A few people honk their horns at us, but I'm not sure if they're on our side or if they're against us. Some people shout, "All lives matter!" And I know that they're against us. For real. I keep looking at those posters of the people who got killed and looking at my daddy, and my mouth goes dry. It's like it's trying to suck dirt. Not all the people walking are black. Not by a mile. But it's still the biggest group of black people I've ever been with, even counting our big family reunion in Atlanta last summer. Although it's for a sad reason, and there are a lot of angry faces, it feels good to be part of something, to belong. Lots of police officers watch us, and I wonder if they feel sad about the posters too, or if they're angry at us for marching. Some news reporters are there, but every time they try to stick a microphone in someone's face, the person just waves them away. When I was in the first grade, our teacher would have us play this game called the silent game. We had to see how long we could go without saying a word. Now that I'm older, I know she was just trying to have a few moments of peace. We never stayed quiet for too long. Something not about being able to talk gave someone the giggles. But tonight, it's not hard to stay quiet. And for sure, I really don't feel like giggling. We march from Westwood all the way up the hill to UCLA campus, and then all of us, this huge group of people, stand there quiet, holding candles, holding hands, and swaying like we all hear the same song. Even though it's for a sad reason, it's sort of beautiful. Then one voice starts singing low and quiet, "We shall overcome," she sings, and everybody who knows the words starts singing too. When the song is over, we blow out our candles, and I can tell that the protest is over. My family is pretty solemn on the way home, and it's like no one wants to be the first to break the silence, but then Daddy clears his throat. "How about some ice cream?" he asks. The only answer to that question is a big fat yes. I get a double scoop of pistachio, Hannah gets her boring chocolate chip, and Daddy gets cake batter with cookie pieces crumbled in it. "Lord, you all make my mouth hurt just thinking about all that sugar," Mama says. Then she orders a small mango sherbet. We sit inside, and it's like we're sitting inside a scoop of ice cream. It smells so sweet. "You can't let the problems of the world stop you from enjoying life," Daddy says with his mouth full of ice cream. Mama gives him one of her sweet looks that usually makes me and Hannah roll our eyeballs right out of our heads. But tonight, we let her get away with it. Then Daddy reaches over and grips Hannah's hand. "You and your friends need to be careful out on these streets, you hear me? You can't be giving anybody any reason to hassle you." "Like they need a reason," Hannah says, licking her ice cream off her cone. "Did you hear what I said?" Daddy's voice has that serious edge that means you better pay attention. "Okay," Hannah says in a quiet voice. When we get back home, I write about all the things I observed at the march. When the phone rings, I don't even think about it before picking up. I'm completely ready to stop being angry at my friends. "Hello? Oh, hey, Shayla? This is, Hi, Tyler." I cut him off. Life is short. "Oh, yeah, hey, yeah. You recognize my voice, huh?" Something like that, I say, starting to bite a hangnail. "What's up?" Yeah, well, I've been hanging out with my boys, just, doing stuff. And, well, I've kind of been thinking about you, wondering, what you've been doing." "Not much," I say. Then there's a big pot of nothing, and I wait for Tyler to think of something else to say. I can hear him breathing. One of us has to say something. "Oh, I went to a march for Black Lives Matter." "Well, that sounds cool." Tyler sounds relieved that he has something to say. But I don't want to start talking to Tyler in any type of a way. "Yeah, it was," I say. "Hey, I gotta go." "Okay, but, what I wanted to ask you, real quick, I just wanted to know, he pauses for a moment. I sputter out, "I'll talk to you at school," and I hang up. For the rest of the vacation, I don't answer the phone, and my parents are under strict instructions to say I'm busy if Tyler calls again. Mama says a boy doesn't have any business calling me anyway. I don't want to tell my friends about Tyler calling, because that will just lead us right back to the dance, and that will make me mad all over again. Daddy asked me very sarcastically, "Is there anyone you are talking to?" I don't even bother answering him. Silence can be super loud. So this is a huge chapter. We learn that Shayla goes to her first protest. It's a special protest where no one says anything. No one says a word. And when you have hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people walking silently, it really is quite a spectacle. And that's why it's working better than people screaming, yelling, and throwing bricks in store windows. So, this silent type of protest, I really think is very effective. Reminds me of Martin Luther King Jr. and the way that he was recommending that people put together protests to fight injustice. So Shayla is really waking up and understanding that she needs to fight for social justice. And this is her first time joining a Black Lives Matter protest. And it seems like a really great thing, and that she was able to do that with her whole family. So now we're going to move on to chapter 40. What's up? And that's what Shayla said to Tyler on the phone. Hey, what's up? And we're going to find out about some rumors that have gotten flying around over winter break about Shayla and Tyler. Being away from school and not having my cell phone, I felt like I had fallen right out of the world. I have no clue what's going on with anybody. I miss all the pictures and the videos and the updates. Mama won't even let me use a computer to go on social media. She says the computer is just for homework and she doesn't want me distracted, even though I explained like it's the holiday and I don't have any homework. And I tried telling her it would be much better for me to watch silly Snapchat videos than to watch the news and see protests getting uglier and uglier. I don't see much peaceful singing anymore. And I've seen more and more store windows getting broken. A crowd of people blocked the entrance to the police station and wouldn't move until the cops started arresting everyone. I kept waiting to hear if the trial is over, but I guess it takes a while for arguments to close. And I don't want to believe that the officer is going to be found innocent, but I can tell Mama and Daddy are both thinking that's the way it's going to be. Based on the protests happening around in the city, that's what a whole bunch of people think too. Mostly black people. Is someone else going to get killed, Mama? Mama turns off the TV. You don't need to watch any more of that mess, she says. For the first time, I'm almost glad to go back to school. Isabella and Julia are by the snack machines at break, waiting for me. I guess they didn't want to risk me not showing up at our spot. Hey, I say, as if we just talked yesterday. Isabella grabs my arm. Shay, people have been talking about you and Tyler like you two are... Before Isabel can finish telling me what people have been saying about me and Tyler, he just like appears out of nowhere, like she called him or something. Hey, Shayla, how you doing? He asks, looking at the ground. I'm good, Tyler. I want to go to our usual spot behind the portals, but I don't know how to get us there. What's up? I ask, hoping he'll go away fast. Nothing is all he says, and he doesn't leave. Okay, I say, and I angle away from him. What did you do over vacation? I ask Isabella and Julia, making it clear that's who I'm talking to. How is art camp, Is? Fine, Isabella answers, looking at Tyler. Fun, I mean. I spent time with my dad. She coughs. He was sick, though. Isabella must have caught whatever her dad had, because she looks awful. Instead of her usual bronzy color, she's almost the color of mustard. Abachan asked about you. She made kushiyaki you like, Julia says accusingly. Going to Julia's grandmother's is one of my favorite things, especially if she's cooking. She usually tells me how she's going to fatten me up. I'm sorry I missed it, I say in a low voice. I bet I missed a lot of things. I give a side glance at Tyler, and then I look away fast. Shayla went to a rally for Black Lives Matter, he says. Julia and Isabella both look wide-eyed at me. Yeah, I say. My palms itch as if fire ants are biting all over them. I need Tyler to leave so I can find out what people are saying about us. How do you know what Shayla did? Julia asks him. She told me, Tyler says. Like, duh. Over break, we were, talking. My cheeks are so hot, my skin might start melting off my face. You were? Isabella asks, looking back and forth between me and Tyler. He called me, I say, as if he's not standing right there. And you talked to him? Julia says and raises an eyebrow. I don't know what to say. Luckily the bell rings, saving me from having to say anything. Isabella runs off to class. Julia waits like she wants to see what me and Tyler are going to do. Bye, I say, and I start to walk away, but Tyler walks right next to me. Julia turns on her heel and walks off fast. She doesn't even say goodbye. You have PE next, right? Tyler asks, trying to keep up with me. I walk faster. Yeah, how do you know? Me too, I just have a different teacher. But I've seen you. His face breaks out into an embarrassed grin. There's 4 other PEs going on at the same time as mine, and I've never noticed Tyler. Of course, I've never been looking for him. We get to the locker room at the same time as Yolanda. We're both a little out of breath. Hey, Yolanda says. I wish I could tell her it's no big deal. I wish I could tell her something so she'd stop looking at me like I have a mushroom growing out of my forehead. See you later, Tyler, I say firmly to stop him from following me into the girls' locker room. When Yolanda and I get outside for roll call, she seems like she's in a really bad mood. Coach West has us all partnered up and start doing sit-ups. Yolanda holds my feet while I struggle to do 50 sit-ups. What's going on with you and Tyler? She blurts out at sit-up 22. I sit up, I shrug, I go back down. I don't want to tell Yolanda anything until I've talked to my friends. But you don't even like him, Yolanda says, raising her voice a little. Up again. It's not. I look at Yolanda and I shrug at her crown of braids. She gives my feet a hard squeeze and I go back down. I don't get why a boy would like a girl who's mean to him, she says. Haven't you noticed me being nicer? I feel like I have a big shovel in my hand and I'm just digging myself into a deeper and deeper hole. No, Yolanda says, letting go of my feet, even though I've only done 40 sit-ups. I have no clue why she seems mad at me. She was the one who wanted me to be nicer to Tyler. So, isn't this an interesting turn of events? So, it looks like a rumor is being spread all around, probably by Tyler, because he likes Shayla, that they're talking. And her friends can't believe it, and Yolanda is actually really upset. And I think you can figure out why. It's the same reason why Shayla was upset that Jace was paying attention to Isabel. Yolanda likes Tyler. She's the one that's been nice to him in shop class, trying to get Shayla to not act so mean. And it just doesn't even make her understand how could Tyler be interested in Shayla when all Shayla has been doing is being like really short with him and cutting him off. I think it goes back to kind of an old idea that people always seem to want what they can't have. That just seems to be something that's a part of human nature that we all need to grow up and get over. So that's where we're at. This chapter's theme was about jealousy and absolutely a whole bunch of misunderstandings. But most importantly, we find out how Shayla is starting to wake up to the idea of social justice and what's going on around her. And she really is starting to grow up quite a bit.